I am completely off the Matt Ryan train. That was a train wreck last night. You predicted it, Brian. I got to give you credit. Guys, unfortunately, I watched the game with Brian, and all I heard all last, I told you, Jason. I told you.
Well, it's Schwartz, man. Schwartz came up with a great game plan. It's the second or the third time, actually, that he's thwarted him in the red zone and didn't allow Matt Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons to get in. Sometimes people are great coordinators and not good head coaches, and that's Schwartz. I mean, he's a hell of a coordinator. But the funny thing to me is laughing at you last night every time Matt threw the ball. You thought, that's not on target. That's a bad pass.
That's not on time.
That is the ultimate fan. Like, to me, like I just kept saying, okay, here comes the pressure. Here comes the pocket collapsing. And you can see it. The thing that I'll say also is just Matt doesn't play well in Philly, his hometown. But there's no reason to panic. I mean, he's had rough outings against the Eagles the last 3 times out. This offense will be prolific. And Matt is a good quarterback.
You were on that Falcons coach area. I know he's a good quarterback, but he's not elite. I don't think we'll ever see that MVP thing again. You were on that coaching staff. Is he a guy that's tough in the pocket? I don't think so.
He's tough in the pocket. Last night would have been maybe he got a little jumpy at times. You would, too, if you get hit like he was getting hit. I mean, so I don't know any quarterback. You can go get Montana, you can get Marino, you can get Brady. If the middle of the pocket crashes, they collapse.
I've seen not the great ones.
Tom was ready to collapse in the Super Bowl when we sacked him 6 times in the first half.
What did he do, though?
Well, he
What did he do? Okay. He threw it in bounds.
I think here's the problem when it comes to Matt Ryan. When I'm looking at the highest average salaries, he's right behind Aaron Rodgers. And when you pay a quarterback $30 million, there's a standard and a level of expectation that you want to see him play at. And this is the problem. This was the problem I felt like Julio Jones had. When you look in the locker room and you look at Matty Ice and you expect him to be an elite quarterback, but we all know that he's not one of the VIPs at the position. It is hard. It is hard for everybody, even the offensive coordinator, to validate him as a $30 million quarterback when his game is not that of an Aaron Rodgers or someone in that ilk.
I don't think that he's elite. When you talk about elite quarterbacks, you wouldn't mention his name in the first 5 guys. He's a more than capable guy. I think the problem is Atlanta's running Kyle Shanahan's offense and Steve Sarkisian is having to call an offense that isn't his. Yep. That's the problem. That's why they're struggling.
Look, I'm not throwing in the towel on Matt Ryan. I've never called him an elite quarterback. I think he's a really good quarterback, more than capable of getting the job done.
Yes.
What we saw last night was week 1. Week 1, when you haven't even thrown a pass to a Julio Jones in the preseason because he never got a snap.
You know what the Falcons should do, honestly? You're right, it was week 1. So don't give him that $30 million. Whatever you owe him for that $30 million, don't give it to him week 1 because he wasn't ready. I mean, they gave you $30 million.
We can't just discount what you're talking about with Schwartz and that defense. He went up against the best defense in the NFL. Like, he didn't go up against some subpar defense.
We can't let him go now. Like,
I'm not letting him go.
When we pay top dollar for the quarterback is supposed to make everything right. When you're in that high cotton, that $30 million, you don't have your Twitter off, but you're supposed to be the Febreze. You're supposed to make everything that stinks smell good. Matty Ice, when they wrote him that check, the expectation is he makes everything better. It doesn't matter who's around him. He has to get it done. If not, why are we paying him?
Because that's what the position requires.
That's what we're messing up.
Keenum ain't getting $30 million, and that's what he looked like.
If you want a good quarterback, not even an elite quarterback, you're in the $22 to $26 million range.
Why, though?
Greg, I can't believe as a receiver.
Because they're all white.
As a receiver, those balls were just inaccurate. You didn't even have a chance.
Listen, I hear you. I hear you. And my frustration with Matt Ryan has always been in the red zone. That's been his Achilles heel his entire career, the red zone efficiency and his inability to score touchdowns. When you look at last year in the divisional game, they threw the ball 4 out of 4 times, and it didn't work for them. They are overthinking this thing. Like this year, week 1, they go down first possession, and they have 4 shots. They run 3 out of 4 times. They're over, and then the last possession, you completely miss Julio Jones, but my issue with Matt Ryan is he can't extend the play and improvise and play backyard football. That's what separates the Russell Wilsons, the Aaron Rodgers, and those guys like that.
But don't give him $30 million now.
Here's what I say on that drive when you talk about they ran the ball 3 times. When you look at that series, the first drive of the game, okay, they run up the middle for 0 yards. Then they try to run outside, they lose yards. Then they try to throw the ball to Freeman down there on the 1-yard line. And then they lose yards on the 4th down play. They can't run the ball against.
Freeman was open in the end zone and Matt Ryan was inaccurate.
I will
at
give you that.
$150 million, that's unacceptable. That man owes everybody in that locker room an apology. That was an embarrassing performance. It was an embarrassing performance.
As a defensive player, you always say, okay, we had every opportunity to
held them to 18 points, Brian.
Yeah, but you could have held them. You gave up that last touchdown that you didn't really have to give up to. That was
the man was in the red zone. They were inside the 10 on 3 or 4 different occasions and came away with 12 points.
I'm just saying, as a team player, it's not what the offense did. You always look and say, what could we have done better? This guy can take a play that's screwed up and he can make something of it. You know, you could have him lost. He's so big, he's bigger than most of the guys trying to tackle him. He can get loose in the pocket, scramble for a big first down late in the game. Not to mention the fact that Norv Turner's going to get him into a situation where
I wish I had a towel to throw over my head the way that
I've beaten you every day this
Cam
week,
Newton.
so won't you?
You know how Cam Newton sits on the bench with a towel over his head soaking? That's part of leadership.
That's his swag.
That's part of leadership.
That's his swag. But a part of leadership is being who you are and not being afraid to take a stance, whether it's the crazy hats he wears. That's a part of his swag. That man is a ball player, and you'd hate to face him if you had a chance to go to the Super Bowl and you had to win a game. You'd rather see Dak than to see this man.
I don't disagree with you about Cam Newton being a better player than Dak Prescott, but I think in terms of leadership, who's the more steady, consistent influence, I would say Dak Prescott. I think as a coach, you would like to have someone that you know Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, he's going to be the same. I believe Dak Prescott is going to be the same wins and losses. I think it's easier to build around a guy that is going to display that kind of leadership than the ups and downs, ebbs and flows.
Bucky, but wasn't he the same guy that got beat up in college on spring break? So
he did.
Was that leadership when he was out there hanging out and got jumped by those guys? Well, so I mean, he's had some off-the-field stuff, too.
He has.
You never lost a fight.
Well, he was beat up pretty bad.
You never lost a fight. You from East St.
No,
Louis.
because I'm swinging first.
You from East St. Louis. You never lost a fight.
To my brothers.
You from East St. Louis.
To my brothers.
You know I got friends.
I'm swinging first. You can call them.
I got friends in East.
I'm
we
swinging
the same
first.
age, Brian. I know
if we arguing, I'm swinging first. We ain't gonna just sit here and argue. I'm gonna get me a lick in.
Let me tell you, I'm going Cam, and I don't need you to be steady. I don't need you to tell me what to do and how to do it. I'm a grown man. I should know how to do all that. What I need from you is for me to trust that I can know every time you step on that field, the team that we going up against, that opponent, they got problems not only with me, but they got problems with you too. When you look at Dak Prescott, he doesn't pose that threat. Like, so I need my leader not only to lead by example, which is huge, but action speaks louder than words any and every day in our sport. You know that, and you know that.
And I get that, and I get the actions, but I'm looking at Dak Prescott, and Dak Prescott in 2 years has 16 games with a passer rating over 100. That is tied with Tom Brady. So we can sit here and act like
How many did they win?
He's 22-10 as a starter for the Cowboys. Then look, I will say this. I'm not saying that he's a truck that he can carry the team, but when you put him with Ezekiel Elliott, they win a lot of games in Dallas. But when he has a strong running game, they win a lot of games. Well, so I'm saying
that's to be seen because
we've already seen it, Brian.
That very great offensive line has been broken up because Travis Frederick and Martin, they're hurt. That's 2 of their best players. So we're yet to see if they can get that running game going with this offensive line that they're throwing out there this weekend in Carolina.
I'm rooting for Cam Newton. I hope Norv Turner fixes a lot of things, like him throwing the ball on time, him throwing the ball accurately. There's not a receiver around the league. We done heard from, Kelvin Benjamin this offseason that already done told you a little bit of the truth on Cam Newton. And again, I'm hoping. MVP Cam that carried that team, love him. Hopefully we'll get back to some of that. But in terms of just day-to-day leadership, this is kind of a no-brainer, Brian.
Nah. And my son plays for Carolina. I might be a homer.
Yeah,
I might be a homer. My son plays in Carolina.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go there.
I have to throw that out.
I just can't buy the day-to-day leadership. I can't go home every single day and somebody asks me, how was practice today? Was Cam a good leader today? I don't care. I don't care.
Right.
Like, I really don't care. Was Cam balling today, though?
Yes.
Yeah, he was, man.
Aren't you the same person that took a little knock on Aaron Rodgers' leadership?
Absolutely, but I ain't never knocked this play. I ain't never said I wouldn't go in that huddle with him again.